I give because I think God has blessed me in a lot of ways. God has given me talents to help other people, and God has given me enough money to provide for myself and for my family and to have left over, the end of the day, at the end of the month. And I think it's our call to share that with people, both our money and our time and the gifts that God has given us.
The Bible tells you at least 40 times to give a tenth of your income. So I definitely give a tenth plus more.
And so I started to give $8 a week, and that felt good. And then I gave 16. And then I gave 32, and Carl kept mentoring me through this process until I got to over $100 a week. And it felt good, and it still feels good.
Here I am, a poor college student, $1 a week, I can do that, and then the next year, $2 a week, okay, I can do that, and you start off in manageable amounts and just keep building on that, and that really got me started thinking very differently on how I was going to give to the church.
When I had this sense that perhaps God was calling me into ministry, I proceeded to write down about 2 pages of reasons as to why maybe I shouldn't do this. I managed to work through all the others, but I still was struggling with the financial piece until finally one day I realized that if indeed God is calling me to do this, I need to trust. And if it's something that should be or I am called to do, it will somehow work out. So I took that leap of faith, let the seminary know that I would be coming, and then my husband was offered a job such that there was just enough of an increase in salary that we did not have to go into any debt, and we were able to help our children get through school and college.
We also put several $100s a month aside in a special tithe account, and then we use that to be able to help World Hunger, or if there's individual appeals that come. As my mother told me long ago, it's true. If you give first, there'll always be enough for your needs.
If God has given to you, you give back to God. That was how I was raised. And if we had a nickel, I couldn't come home or I couldn't go to the local store and spend half of it. Because we were from a small community too, so if the store owner told my father that I spent a whole nickel, I'd be in trouble.
And so a part of it is just learning to be obedient. And I don't even understand it and don't always feel comfortable and don't want to do it. But that's not the important piece, because what I've found is when I try a little, God tries so much harder.
I mean, for everything there is a time. So if I don't have today, I'll have tomorrow. I don't worry in that sense about it. Isaiah 40, those who wait on the Lord will be renewed in their strength.
When you recognize those kinds of gifts that are all around you, then to think of the way in which you receive those gifts every day, responding seems like so little compared to how much you receive all the time. And I enjoy that, I really do.
I think one of the things that oftentimes we forget about when we're talking about stewardship is that we do need to go beyond just money. And we need to talk about time and talent. And for some people, that's a very important way that they can give and feel that they're contributing in situations where they might not be able to give financially.
The Lutheran Church has been criticized because we don't preach tithing enough. It's almost like people, are afraid to say that word. And people will say, well, you're talking about 10% of gross or 10% of net. And I always say, start somewhere.
It's where the priority is.
It's not a matter of what's left after the bills. I don't do it that way, because then I probably wouldn't give the church anything. Because there's nothing left if you do it that way. But even when I give what I do, my bill still somehow gets paid.
You had received so much, and there were so many blessings in our lives, and this was a way to say thank you. And having responded in that way, things just were falling into place.
I have been a tither, more than a tither, for about 5 years now. I mean, God gives 100%. Giving 10% back is like not really, shouldn't be much of a stretch.
For years, I was quite an accomplished pew sitter, and I thought that, I really thought that having faith meant just showing up to church, throwing whatever spare change I have in my pocket in the plate, and kind of leaving for another week and being done my obligation. And what I've come to learn, and I'm still learning, is that when God tells me to do something, to give, to tithe, to pray regularly, to spend time in the Word, it's not just a list of do this because I say so. It's do this and you will be blessed